Good evening and welcome to Womanhood Umbrella, the program where we analyze decisive moments that reshape modern history. Tonight we revisit one of the most symbolic and transformative acts of resistance in the struggle for civil rights in the United States.
70 years ago, on December 1st, 1955, in Montgomery, an African-American woman made a decision that would challenge an entire system of racial segregation that had existed for decades.
Her name was Rosa Parks, and although her action appeared simple on the surface, its consequences were profound and far-reaching.
This evening, we will examine not only what happened in that city, but also why her refusal became a turning point in American history.
To fully understand the significance of that moment, we must first return to the social and political climate of the 1950s. In the 1950s, segregation laws in many southern states required African Americans to sit at the back of public buses, while white passengers were given priority seating at the front.
If the section reserved for white passengers became full, black passengers were expected to stand up and give away their seats, regardless of how long they had been sitting or how tired they were.
Ma'am, I'm going to need you to stand up and give your seat to other passengers. You know the rules, and I expect you to follow them.
I understand the rules, sir, but I don't think I should give up my seat just because of the color of my skin.
If you refuse to stand, I will have no choice but to call the authorities and report you for violating the law.
You may do that if you feel it is necessary, but I'm not gonna stand up.
Her voice was neither loud nor aggressive. It was calm and resolute. Yet that quiet refusal directly confronted the injustice of segregation.
Shortly after, Rosa Parks was arrested and charged with violating local segregation laws, an action that many believed would discourage further resistance.
However, what authorities did not anticipate was the reaction of the African-American community in Montgomery.
Her arrest quickly became a catalyst for collective action, as community leaders and citizens organized a large-scale protest against the city's bus system.
This protest became known as the Montgomery Bus Boycott, a movement that would last more than a year and demonstrate extraordinary determination.
For 381 days, thousands of African American citizens refused to use public buses, choosing instead to walk long distances, share rights, and endure intimidation in order to demand equal treatment under the law.
Their perseverance eventually led to a Supreme Court ruling that declared segregation on public buses unconstitutional, marking a significant victory in the broader civil rights movement.
Welcome. Joining us today is Dr. Williams, a specialist in American civil rights history. Thank you for taking the time to speak with us.
It is my pleasure to be here and to discuss such a crucial chapter in American history.
So, many people have heard that Rosa Parks refused to stand simply because she was physically exhausted after a long day at work. How accurate is those events?
While it is true that she had work that day, the idea that her action was purely spontaneous or motivated only by fatigue is misleading. Rosa Parks had long been involved in activism and was a member of the NAACP, where she served as a secretary and actively supported efforts to challenge racial injustice. She had attended workshops on civil disobedience and was fully aware of the risks she was taking.
So her refusal was not an isolated act, but rather a part of a broader context of resistance?
Exactly, and precisely. African American communities had been resisting segregation through legal challenges and grassroots organizing for years. What made Rosa Parks' action so powerful was the combination of personal dignity, strategic timing, and collective readiness for change. Her arrest became the spark that ignited a long-suppressed movement.
And why do you think her act resonated so strongly across the country?
Because it revealed the moral contradiction of the heart of segregation. A peaceful woman was arrested simply for sitting in a public seat. That image forced many Americans to confront the injustice that had previously been normalized. It also transformed an abstract political issue into a human story that people could connect with.
So, what were the immediate consequences of her arrest?
Her arrest led directly to the Montgomery bus boycott, a mass protest in which African Americans refused to use the city buses for more than a year. This boycott caused significant financial losses for the bus company and also demonstrated the economic power of the black community. It propelled Martin Luther King Jr. into national prominence as a civil rights leader.
So, did Rosa Parks consider herself a hero?
So, interestingly, she never saw herself as a hero. She often said that she was just doing what she felt was right. She believed that ordinary people could bring about extraordinary change. Her humility is one of the reasons her story is so inspiring.
And how did her action influence future civil rights movements?
So that's very interesting. Rosa Parks' act of defiance encouraged others to challenge discriminatory laws. It influenced sit-ins, marches, and protests all across the United States. Her courage demonstrated that peaceful resistance could be a powerful tool against oppression and inspired later movements for women's rights, LGBTQ+, and other social justice causes.
What lessons do you think can young people today learn from Rosa Parks?
I think her story teaches us that social change often begins with a single decision. Standing up for justice does not always require grand gestures. Sometimes it starts with a quiet refusal to accept unfairness. Young people today can learn that their voices matter and that courage, even in small acts, can transform societies.
So, in your opinion, what is Rosa Parks' lasting legacy?
Her legacy can be a reminder that dignity is a fundamental human right. She became a symbol of peaceful resistance and moral courage. Her name is now associated with freedom, equality, and the ongoing struggle for civil rights all around the world.
Well, thank you, Dr. Williams, for sharing your insights about the topic.
Thank you for inviting me, and it is essential that we continue to remember her and learn from her story.
Rosa Parks continued to dedicate her life to the struggle for equality long after the boycott ended, becoming an enduring symbol of courage and civil resistance.
Her legacy reminds us that meaningful change often begins with individuals who are willing to challenge unfair systems, even when the personal consequences are significant.
Although her action lasted only a few minutes, this impact has extended across generations and continues to inspire movements for justice around the world.
Sometimes history is transformed not by dramatic gestures, but by quiet determination and moral conviction. Well, that's all for today in Womanhood Umbrella. Thank you for joining us this evening.